Hi boys and girls, it's me Butch. My name's Terry David Silvercloud. I'm not native, it just sounds that way. I'm 81 years old and today is the 27th of December 2025 and this is another attempt to get all my new gear cooperating and working and me learning how to use it. I'm shooting video differently these days. Previously, I had a bunch of cameras and I was sort of using switchers I was recording live, as it were, just switching around different cameras. Now I'm recording with multiple cameras just to see what happens. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras recording. What you'll end up seeing, I have no idea. That's why this is all a big test. I'm trying to improve my sound. One of the drawbacks I find is, see, I can't hear it, but I know the microphones pick up on the squeaky floor. Oh, there it is, I heard it. See, there's a hardwood floor underneath my renovated 1950s apartment. There's vinyl, you can see the vinyl. Because I'm above the parking space and I have a cold floor, I put these carpety things there and then I can slide my hardwood chair around. So I yak on and on and on and on. This is a test. So what was I going to talk about? First, this is all about me anyway. These are microphones up here. Question and answer. So the number one question is, why do I call myself Butch? Where'd the name Butch come from and all that kind of stuff? So I'm 81 years old, and back around 1998, I moved to Vancouver after a crisis in my life. I was sort of taking advantage of it. I lost pretty much everything I had. And I'd lost my boyfriend 4 years previously, so I thought, time for a change. And I moved to Vancouver and basically semi-retired. And in those days, there was no TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, and that just didn't exist. But there were bulletin boards and there were websites. And my brother, who's deceased now, he taught me how to use a computer and the internet. So I joined a website called straightacting.com, and they had a bulletin board, and that's the way people communicated. And the bulletin board was called the Butch Board. I've since taken the name Butch Board for my personal site. But you had to have a username, or you were supposed to have a username if you had any sense, because, privacy and all that kind of stuff. And on the Butch Board, there was nobody who had taken the username Butch. So Butch took the name Butch. And that's how I became Butch. And that was a good thing for me. I didn't really have any friends then. I haven't developed any. I'm quite reclusive. I don't really fit into the regular gay community. I don't drink. I'm a heavy pot smoker. I live with chronic pain. I don't have a lot of money. I'm old. I'm sort of allergic, or not allergic. I can't tolerate over-the-counter pain meds like aspirin, Advil, Motrin. So I'm on prescription Tylenols, T3s, and I take 6 to 8 of those a day to try and control my aches and pains. It's called chronic pain because it's not curable and it's always there. And it's simply the result of being old and a lot of arthritis, having been in 6 car accidents, having fallen off small cliffs and lived a rough and tumble life, played hockey. Not a lot of hockey, but enough to take a few bumps and bruises. Where's the camera? I don't know if you can see my hockey finger. I don't know if you can see I played defense. I always took the face off because I was really big and I was really good at the face off. I wasn't a great stick handler, but I always got the face off. I don't think anyone ever in my whole career of doing face offs ever took the puck away from me. And that's simply because I employed a simple trick. As I saw the puck falling in front of me, I just simply leaned forward, and I'm 6'2", so I'm already pushing the other guy out of the way, and I'm really fast. And I would put one of our really good wingers back in my defense position. I said, "The puck's coming to you," and it did. So, not that we were a great team, but we always won the face-offs. where was I going with this? This is all about me, and I'm testing camera equipment. Let's see, is everybody tracking me? They're supposed to be tracking me. They seem to be. I see green lights. That's a good thing. So what am I going to do now? I told you how I got the name Butch. So I have a history of changing my name, and that doesn't happen so much in these days, but in the olden days, when I came out, I was about 22, 23 years old, and I was in submarine school in England with the Royal Navy, learning how to operate a submarine, and I came out. I had finally admitted to myself I'd fallen in love with a sailor on my previous ship, where I was a navigator, and I finally realized that I like boys. I just finally admitted it to myself. But I was very naive, and I grew up in an era, a time when nobody talked about these things, and it was against the law anyway. So if the Navy found out that I was queer, they would just toss me out, and I was just starting my career. I eventually left because I was gay, and I thought they're going to find out, and that's another story. Anyhow, this is all about names. And when I was coming out in submarine school, I grew up to London, and that's where I came out. And the first time somebody asked me my name, I sort of freaked out a bit because I thought, I can't tell them my name. I'm in the Navy. So the first name that popped into my head was David, and David was a hustler that hung out at Piccadilly Circus. I had approached him, and that's when I learned about trade and what trade was. And if I had enough money at the time, I guess, I would have had to rent a hotel room, and it would have got very expensive, but he was quite beautiful. So his name popped in my head, and ever thereafter, when somebody asked me what my name was, it was like David, like all my new people that knew I was queer. So when I left the Navy, more people knew me as David, and even my family. My mom said she knew. I'd been out of the Navy for a couple of years, and I was living out in Vancouver with my sister and my boyfriend at the time, and my mom was coming to visit, and so my sister wrote and told my mother that you should know that David's friend is his boyfriend, and he doesn't go by Terry, he goes by David. And my mom said, I knew all that. Some mothers know, I guess, or some of them do. Where am I going with all this? So I had a history of using other names. So when Butch came along, I just started calling myself Butch. And because I was a naval officer, I was sort of, trained to be in charge. A sign above our mess hall said, "Follow me." Above our class, when we went into this building, we're in officer school. And I'm not going to get into that anymore. What I wanted to tell you more is a bit about, because I'm a nerd, and I like yakking and pushing my science ideas. So I got into physics. I wanted to be a physicist, but I went in the Navy, and then since I retired, I got back into studying physics and realized that we don't really know a lot yet. And a lot of what people think we know is just bullshit. It's not bullshit, it's just theory, and people think it's fact. And it's just, maybe that's what's happening. This morning I was even reading from a respected online physicist, Sabina, about some physicists doubt the existence of black holes. It's a very trendy word and all that, and confuses the regular people, and Butch has his own ideas about what black holes are, because I'm into motion physics and how things move. For instance, nothing can really go in a circle. Everything is traveling in helical waves. Even the Earth. The Earth follows the sun through space, South Pole forward, and it does sort of, if you were on Earth, you would think you were circling the sun, and you are, except the sun is moving in 1 year 7 billion kilometers with the Milky Way, and Earth is being pushed, Butch says pushed. Old school gravitation types would say pulled, but either way, it doesn't matter. You just have to change your view of relativity, everything's governed by we see things, and everybody sees things differently. So having a common point of view makes things very difficult in physics, because even when you establish it, because of the motion of Earth through space, we just left it billions of kilometers behind that point of view. So you just have to stick with the moment, and all of that's called relativity. See, I'm a nerd. I wander. I'm old. I take a lot of drugs. I was in horrible pain this morning. Not pain, I would call it aches, the entire body. And I'm trying not to get suicidal. It would get better, and it's getting better. So, Butchie Poo, I wanted to sort of give you an idea, because I want to encourage young physicists and brainiacs to follow their dreams. Butch fell in love with the electron when he was very young. That happened at around, well, it probably happened before I realized it, but I would have been in grade 7 or 8 or something, and I don't remember exactly, and I don't think I was in high school yet. I was in Sea Scouts, and I hung out with some other Sea Scouts. And the area where I was living, they were tearing down buildings to make way for the Skyway Bridge. My dad was really pissed off because they expropriated right up to the edge of his property, and now we were going to have to live beside a highway. God knows how, well, now it's like about 25 lanes. Who knows, it's huge. They've even doubled the bridge. Nevertheless, for some reason, at that time, I had already started teaching myself about electrons because of a neat book I must have been in high school, because I found a book in the library about the high school library, a nice illustrated book about, I think I wanted to know why TV sets work. Like, why do they work? Because I'm a nerd. And so I taught myself a whole bunch of things. And I was going around with a friend of mine, and we were taking old telephone sets. They used to have old phone in the old days. They had phones, and I wanted just the handset part because I wanted to go to scout camp and run phone lines between the tents. All you need was a battery, really, some wire. So I was visiting a friend's house who I had a crush on, and with another couple of my Sea Scout friends, and he was showing his older brother's stereo, which was that was really modern. He had a stereo. What's that? And then older brother walked in, but he was quite nice. He was in his 20s, and he was an electrical or electronics technician or engineering type, and worked for Bell Canada up in the early warning systems they had in those days for defense. And so getting back to the phones, I had made plywood boxes with some toggle switches, so you could switch the battery, you could switch the phone, the headset off and on and stuff. He inquired about my box, and I told him, and he worked for Bell. So he taught me how I could just use a single wire instead of 2 wires between the phones. And that's when I began to learn about electrons. And so I have a fascination for it. And what happens is that the Earth is just full of stray electrons. They're just pretty loosey-goosey. So they don't mind stepping sideways or forward, a lot of them, as long as they get the right push or pull from somewhere. And you can do that with the use of the positive pole of your battery. And the Earth is really just a big negative pole anyway. So really you're just dealing with the positive pole of your battery, and this is going to get confusing for you, so I'm going to shut up there. But all of that in my old age got me to, when I started thinking about reality, I had so many things I could talk to you about. I'm just yakking on. I wanted to talk about this. That's why I write stuff down. I'm such a ditz. That's why I picked this up. You're supposed to read it. Okay. When I was talking to me originally, and I don't know if this is important now because I got diverted like I usually do, I like to be the leader and set a good example and practice what I preach. So you're looking at a guy who for 81 is looking pretty good, really. But I have serious health problems. I have ticker problems. I have arthritis. I mentioned I have chronic pain, all that. I just like to be the leader and set a good example and to practice what I preach. No pain, no gain. I have vanity. I like looking good. I don't want loose skin. That's sort of an accident which wouldn't have happened if I knew what I know now. I have hormone issues, but I'm being treated. My hormones are pretty much back to normal. I still have some scars in my arm there and somewhere else in my body. Even my legs are going away. Even my nose. It's from my hormone problems. Something like teenage issues in a way. But I'm in treatment. I'm in hormone treatment in my old age. If you're a man over 45, ask your doctor to measure your major hormones. Unless something obvious is happening, they won't do that, and you won't know. And 5-10 years could go by where you're gaining weight or have some kind of health problem of which it's just some weird health problem. It might be your hormones, and probably you're low on testosterone is the usual problem. Turned out to be my problem. So I wrote that down. I was going to talk to you about my life with electrons. Anything good here? I wrote down, there's no defense against stupidity. I'm a nerd. I had to grow up as a nerd, but fortunately I got to be the boss a lot of the time, so it didn't matter. If you're in charge, you have a crew and they like you or they don't like you, and usually when I'm the boss, people come to like me. They may think I'm weird at first, but they come to realize that I'm a really good boss. I'm a really nice guy. And that's another problem I have is I'm really big. I'm 6'2", and I can be, especially because of my military training, I can be quite loud with my voice. I know how to project, and I can be quite intimidating. So I can frighten people quite easily just with my voice. Where am I going with all this? So before I shut up, because I like pushing my science ideas, that's what I'm going to do. I want to encourage you to look after yourself. I try. You can too. Be what you want to be. I don't know if you'll live to be 81. I wasn't expecting it. Well, I wrote that down too. I wanted to mention time starts going really fast once you get in your 60s. You'll see. And you're going to have aches and pains you never expected. And you think, no, screw that. I mean, I work it. I try really hard to work it. I want to look good if I can. And my knees are shot, so I need strong arms to lift myself and get out of chairs and things. It's really hard. Where am I going with all this? Oh yeah, the electron. So you're going to have to take my word for this because most of you don't have a clue. I'm very well educated in physics. I may not have a PhD in physics, but I'm very well educated. And I have the advantage of being an artist. You know, I'm a photographer and a painter. And so I have a creative kind of mind, and I see things in ways that the artistic types will get it, I think. They just know. It just sort of comes to them. I don't know why it comes to them. It just does. Practice helps. Practice helps. You can see a landscape in the corner there. I'm still not quite finished. It's a bit dark in some areas. There's going to be some more rock showing there shortly. That's an oil painting. I just haven't gotten around to it because I've been too busy trying to get this video equipment working. So back to the electron. Let's pretend this is an electron. Now, I know you folks don't know much about quantum physics, but in quantum physics, the electron is just a point source sitting there doing nothing until you assign it some values, and then it's doing stuff. But even when it's sitting there, it has a value called the Planck's constant. The Planck constant, the same thing. And it's a value, and it was basically determined in a way by dividing things in half until you wondered how many times can you divide things in half. That was sort of the basis behind it, or the math that brought it about. That's what I've been told, if I remember correctly. I had a stroke, so my memory is failing me. So you can assign to an electron spin, left, right. It can be vibrating. It can be wobbling. It can be doing all kinds of things at the same time. Okay? And in quantum physics, they can allow for that, but basically it's a nothingness until you assign somethingness to it. And the somethingness they will assign to it is the Planck constant. And if that Planck constant grows, it'll grow in quantum units. And if the electron wants to actually go to a higher energy level, it has to take on or give up a quantum of energy. It's basically the value of an electron just sitting there doing nothing. But in order for it to go further away, it needs to be able to have the value of two of them, say. That's a good way of looking at it. It's not quite correct, but it'll work. And to get to there, it has to make what's called a quantum leap, and it needs to gain another quantum of energy. It's not quite as simple as that, but that'll give you the basic. That's really the basis of it. It is more complicated for all you guys. Well, it's more complicated than that. Yeah, I know. But that's the basis of it. So a quantum leap is the smallest leap that there is. And the word quantum is thrown around everywhere nowadays. But getting back to the electron, because I know I've been going on too long now already. In the world of particles, it has to be here and there and there and there at the same time, all at once at the same time. That's Butchie Pooh's definition of God. Butch is godless. Butch thinks gods are a silly idea and meant to control people without experience and knowledge and stuff like me. You can't do that to Butch. I'm too smart for that kind of scam. Religions are a way to control people. And if you say, well, they do all this good, well, it's sort of the cost of doing business. They want to control you, so yeah, okay. Throw some of that in. Do what we say or we're going to kill you. That's what religions are sort of about. So where was I? I want to see if you're tracking. Yeah, you're tracking. Oh, good girl. Good boy. You two over there. All right. Getting back to here-ness and there-ness. So Butchie Pooh asked themselves a whole lot of questions about here-ness and there-ness. And came up with the idea, well, he knows a lot about what electrons do, and they transfer energy, and electrons never travel at the speed of light. The speed of light is a kind of a relativity illusion. The electrons usually hardly go anywhere, and when they do go, if they do actually physically move, they're not moving particularly quickly. They don't particularly want to move because they're bumping into all the other electrons and atoms around them. And if they're not the right kind of atoms where they can hop, skip, and jump from one atom to another, like in iron or copper, in metals, it's easier for an electron to move because it can just hop from one atom to another, and we're not going to talk about why that is. But they can, and in other materials like wood, they ain't going nowhere. We call those insulators. The point is, the electron is both here and there at the same time. Oh, was I talking about God there? Did I get that through to you? Butchie Pooh's definition of God is everything all at once, everywhere, all the time. This is God, you're God, I'm God, this is God. That's Butchie Pooh's definition of God. See, I get sidetracked so easily. Here-ness and there-ness. So how are you going to do that? And transfer energy, how are you going to do that? So you won't really find this in textbooks. A lot of this is, I'm not making it up, it's the way it is. I challenge you, prove me wrong. Go ahead, try it, give it a go. I welcome your doubt. I welcome it. I'm a scientist. I want to know, what am I doing wrong? And if you start quoting me theory, well, go away, I've done that, been there, done that. I know what the theories are. They're theories. So there's nothing wrong with my theory, it's just you haven't heard of what I'm going to tell you about. Where were we? So the electron being here and there at the same time and transferring energy. So one way it can do it is if I push on here and make it rotate half a turn, it can rotate or slip that turn half a turn, and it does. So one of the ways an electron transfers energy from here to there is it simply rotates a half a turn, and it's like a windmill or a measuring cup, and it's just pulling the energy there. Another way it can do it is simply move its own diameter to there. So there's two different ways it could do that. And either way, it's passing its energy. But the really sharp-minded ones of you will have noticed that there's a difference between the circumference, half the circumference, and the diameter. Butchie Poo says that eternal difference, because of the solidness of the electron and how difficult it is to break it up, creates gravity. It creates a push because the outside is different than the inside and the distances are different. That allows actually for electromagnetic waves. Fortunately, just the fact that these things can spin because they're magnets, and if they start spinning the right way, not only are they transferring energy, they're disturbing the magnetic structure around them because they have poles. They have north and south poles. So if they start rotating around their poles, they're going to create waves, which we will call electromagnetic waves. So the electron may be going this way, but it may also be going this way, and it's going to disturb all reality around it at the speed of light. The electron's not going at the speed of light, the waves are. They're going to be here and there at the same time. Say, well, you can't do that. What? Which says, yeah, that's easy. And the way it does it is that the speed of light is determined already by the electron. It doesn't really have to go anywhere. It just has to go. It's really small. And we're not sure if it's an actual particle or a standing wave. It doesn't matter. In time space, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't really have to go anywhere. When it just goes its own distance, which you can't even see, it's already traveled at the speed of light because it is the speed of light. But what about the stuff inside it? Well, it has to be made of something. And Butch says it is, and what it's made of is knotted tachyons, which are theoretical particles, and their physical size sets their speed of light relative to the electron. Now the formula for... Oops, don't do that on me. Oops, what's happened there? Are we recording? Oops, I think I've run out of room or something. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap this up. Where was I? See, I totally lost track of what I was doing. The tachyons. So the tachyons, they are much smaller and they set their own speed. Oh yeah, that's right. So the formula for the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. If you substitute the radius in that formula with the speed of light, then that is the ratio of size between the electron and the tachyon. Just like an electron has an energy level of nearly 1/2000th mass, electrical mass of a proton, 1/1836 of a proton. It's sort of that kind of idea. The tachyon is what's making the electron. So now I don't know what's going on over here, but I think this camera's stopped. Let's see if I get this going. Okay, we're back. We're back. I lost you somehow. I don't know why I lost you, but I did. Okay, we're still recording here. So what I'm going to do is to wrap this up now because I've yacked on and on and on and on. I know I did. And then I'm going to start another one maybe. I don't know, but probably not. So I'm going to go to you and I'm going to say, bye. Go, boing.